Good morning and welcome to the Piper Academy. It is time for another morning market report. I got some news from Piper this morning. He said he should be back on the show on Thursday, potentially, if everything lines up accordingly. And we should get him Friday as well. So, looking forward to that. And I'm sure you guys are too. How are you doing this morning, OC?
Doing fantastic, pretty chilly today. I'm wearing a sweatshirt and I'm getting ready to do some trading. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. We're finally close to some warmer weather, but with that warmer weather, we're also looking like we're gonna get a bunch of snow. So I don't know. I'd almost rather it be colder and we couldn't get snow, but
Wow. So
I am. Oh,
the amount of snow is because it's closer to zero, right? Once we go above certain temperature, it just can't snow because it's just too freezing, or it doesn't condensate. Or how does that work?
so once you get to too cold of a temperature, it actually doesn't allow for the snow to fall. So it's I don't know, it's things with weather. I'm not good on weather. I am good on the markets though. So I know we talked about some gold yesterday. Did you end up getting in that gold trade that you were talking about?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's go take a look at it.
All right. Well, you can start off with some of that, and then we can dive into some news. Oh, there we go. Get your screen all shared for the people.
Absolutely. So yesterday we were talking about our entry on gold, right? Bouncing up, and I was expecting just a little bit more of that pushback, right? Oh, wrong one there. So a little bit more of a pushback, as you can see right down here on this low right there. It did play it out with a single candle. That's fine, right? But at this moment, we're getting very close to the median on the ranging. Sorry, on the swing trading range, and well, that also comes with a resistance. Not only that, I am in with my very first area of gold entry. So I'm also going to be taking this one out as we start moving within this range. We need to be a little bit careful right here because it is a big resistance. Not only that, we're getting closer to that zero line, and that is the moment where we either make or break. I am expecting, because we have not only that median range, we also have a high order block and an equilibrium zone right there, that we move slightly into that order block. Let me show you something like around that, and then bounce back down into the next support somewhere around 4,608, and then we keep moving to the upside. I believe that gold still had a lot to give out on bullish terms, but we will have to see how it plays out around that zero line on the oscillator. I think the zero line will be basically covering what gold is going to be doing. But so far, we're getting to a resistance, big one.
Oh yeah, and that's pretty much exactly a resistance level I was talking about yesterday. But before we get into any more charting, we had quite a bit to go over with this morning's movements on both the TradFi side and the crypto side of things. We also got a data drop this morning that was not overwhelmingly positive. So let's get through that real quick. Then we can take a look at your Bitcoin chart, because I know you were calling out some levels yesterday that it looks like we're getting back towards. So let's get through all this real quick. Now, we are seeing a little bit of a mixed market over on the TradFi side, kind of close to what we're seeing on the crypto side as well. Apple sitting down 0.3%, Nvidia down 2.6. We're seeing Amazon down 1.2. We've got Eli Lilly looking a little bit neutral, up 0.05. ExxonMobil up 2.23. We did have some news to kind of go over, but we got a bit more news that we need to talk about first. So we'll save some oil news for tomorrow. We've got Tesla down or up 0.02. P&G up 1.6, Microsoft down 2.22, Google looking pretty neutral, 0% change on the board, and Meta down 0.61. Let's hop on over to the crypto side of things. We got a really big green bubble over here with hype. I know we should probably take another look at that chart. We called out some levels last week, so we'll do a refresher on that one. But we've got Bitcoin with no change on that daily, looking a little bit neutral on the hourly as well. Ethereum down 1.4, BNB up zero point 0.6. We've got XRP down 1.4. Solana sitting down zero point 0.6. Tron looking a little bit neutral, up 0.02. We've got Doge up 0.06. I know you were calling out some meme coins the other day, OC. So maybe we need to take a little bit of a look at that, because the other day when everything was looking a little bit iffy, we had some nice news coming out of some meme coins. We've also got Cardano with no change on the board for that daily time frame. Hype, like I said, was up 8.2%. So I'll take a look at that chart a little bit later. We've got the stock market looking a little bit neutral today. Was sitting in some greed the other day, down 9 points. We've got crypto still sitting in some extreme fear, but making its way back towards the upside, up 3 points from yesterday. We've been watching our liquidity here on the chart. We've got quite a bit still towards the upside on this 2 week. First real area, though, that we need to kind of keep our eyes on is going to be directly above us at $80,000. We've also got a next little batch at that $85,000 level. The hottest spot here on this 2 week is going to be way up here at about 91,300, all the way up to 92,500. So kind of keep your eyes on some of that. We've got some areas we need to turn into some support before we can get to all of those areas. Zooming in, taking a look at this 3 day, this is that first area I really got my eyes on. This is that $80,000 level that we talked about. It is extremely hot here on this 3 day, and we're pretty close to that area. So we'll kind of have to see if we can make our way back to that. We've got this 24-hour with liquidity on both sides of us. We did end up grabbing some of that bottom side liquidity with our little move down on that New York market open. Now we'll see if we can make our way up to 79,800. That's an area I've got on my Bitcoin chart, so that we can grab up some of that liquidity. Like I talked about this morning, we did get some jobs data that was not overwhelmingly positive here. We were looking at that prior being at 7.14 million. Forecast was 7.2. Looking here, I don't know why it's not showing it here, but we came out a little bit hot on those jobs numbers. We did not meet that forecast. It was not 7.2, it was above that. Not too unexpected, as we've continued to see these jobs numbers being absolutely atrocious. So keeping our eyes on the rest of the jobs data this week, because we have two other jobs data drops that we will need to keep our eye on. But we did have that Bitcoin chart to go over this morning. OC, do you want to show the people what you were looking at? And then I will share a few of my levels after you get done.
Absolutely. Let's go check that out. All right. So yesterday we were talking about a possible long in here as we were breaking through that zero line. Sadly, we have not broken through the zero line, so we are not into a long at this moment. I was looking for a less of a bright spot that called out for that bottom. That played out very nicely. This is the 4 hour. And at this moment, I'm looking, or I am expecting to keep moving or pushing forward. All right. So we're just looking for the special entry. So as you can see, a little bit of a retracement and then a push upwards in here to the next median center. And if we're lucky enough, we might be able to get all the way up to our next area of resistance all the way up here. What I'm looking up at this area is to have a higher low or something that points at a triangular pattern. I don't think Bitcoin is going to go lower without fighting. So this is we are looking for an entry at these zones. So let me readjust our entry and let me call out right now a area right away. So this one is going to be an entry right here live. So let's just bring up all of my indicators because I haven't turned them on. It's going to be messy, so bear with me. And we're also going to be taking a look at the 30 minutes. So far, we have a low zone right in here. And there you go. And we're going to be going right there on that golden area. So we're going to be trying to get it in here. We'll see if we can get it a little bit back again. I'm going to be moving it right there. And let me add an alert in here. But this thing is just moving right away. So you know what? Let's go for the entry right now. I'm gonna be trying on the cut. I'm gonna be trying to enter with you guys. My stop loss it's gonna be at 76,645. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a better entry. And so far, what I'm looking for in here is just that triangular pattern. We can go even a little bit lower like this. All right. So be prepared to re-enter if needed. Or better yet, do half of an entry, all right, and then push your stop a little bit below whatever the trend line we could be looking here. So below the 75,579. I know it's a little bit of a chunky, a chunky stop loss, but remember, in this case, since we're looking at a half of an entry, we're doing it twice. All right, so one on the breakout, one right now as we start making the change, and well, then on that case, we're gonna have an average point at somewhere around 76,742 if we are lucky. We're gonna be looking for a target right there around 81,556. And everything comes in here. Let me turn most of this. This thing comes out of the bounce, right? Or the whiplash of this area. I mean, for the best case scenario, we're going to hit all the way up here, right? For the worst case scenario, we're gonna well, I'm thinking that we might be hitting 80,500, 80,000 flat, and then coming back around. But I believe Bitcoin has a little bit more to give before it start crumbling below. And well, it's not about the breakout. It's about the retest, right? So we're going to be also looking for a next short as we start hitting some upwards targets closer to the dynamic reactor. So yeah, that's what I got on Bitcoin.
Well, it sounds a little bit similar to some of what I'm looking at on my Bitcoin chart here. Let me get mine pulled on up. We had a level that we were talking about the other day for a potential resistance. That was our Asia and London highs from the other day. Pretty much came in as resistance all over again. That was at 79,300 area. That's where we got all of our wicking action for the past day and London session this morning. We have opened up with a little bit of a sweep of that downside liquidity. Potential to go just a little bit lower here. We are seeing some interesting signs of worry here on the 4-hour chart as we continue to see this money flow coming on out here. Let me get that pulled on up. As you can see, we're very close to making that next little curvature move back towards the downside. Got a little bit of a diamond that printed here on that Prime Oscillator Pro as well. Keep your eyes on some of that. We are trying to see a little bit of a liquidity shift here on the 4-hour. So if we can get some of that to start to shift, we can make our way back up towards that $80,000 mark. We got a little bit of a fair value gap here as well. We've been testing that bottom side as some resistance, trying to regather some strength to make that stronger push in. We did talk about that liquidity towards the upside there that we've been leaving open. So trying to gather some strength to really get that. For now, that VWAP is some resistance. We'll see if we get that little retest on the shorter term time frame on it, push a little lower here, regather our strength on the higher term time frame for a push off of about 76,200 to try to make our way up to that 80,600 area. So kind of close to what you were looking for. I was looking for a little bit of a lower push as well. So we will see if we can get some bouncing off of those levels there. Did you have anything else TA wise before we start diving into some of this news, sir?
Oh, I have a lot of TA. I have Netflix, Ethereum, Reverb, Pump, Hype, LDO, whatever you like. Let me know.
Well, how about we dive into a few of those charts and then we can break down some of the news that we were looking at this morning. Let me get your screen share pulled back up there. Swap it around for you. There we go.
Absolutely. So let's get started with Netflix. All right. So Netflix is getting closer to the area that I wanted to jump in. Let's go to the daily. Why? Because we have a lot of support right down there, right? And we have a closer to the end, or we're heading closer to the end of the swing range. So I'm expecting this area to be taken, and that is also an important area right back in here. Not only we have a little bit of a nut or a little bit of a fair value gap somewhere around there, we also are at the bottom of this swing entry, right? We're also been for a long time very close to being very bearish, and we're starting to change colors once again. So what I want to go for, it's kind of like get some entry like this. I was expecting it a little bit before, but remember, we wait for confirmation. By the way, entry on Bitcoin just confirmed what is it? 70K, 70,114 at 10x. Very small position. Remember, half of a position. So far, so good. And at this moment, we have a confirmatory on Bitcoin. So looking for an entry somewhere on Netflix, somewhere around the 79.38, as we have some flip of the ribbon and our prime scores start getting better. All right. So we can still go much lower. I mean, much lower. The next area of interest is far back in here. So again, I'm not gonna be diving too much into it, all right, into Netflix, but it's still a good area that I'm looking forward to. So I'm gonna start loading a couple of actions, couple of stocks of Netflix into my pocket, and I'm not really gonna be fast trading Netflix. I'm gonna be holding it for a little bit, and we are at 5.31% gains right now on Bitcoin. So boom shakalaka, let's get it.
Ooh,
Let's just let's go. Look at that. That's my entry, and we have that 5% increase. In fact, my entry was a little bit higher right there. 70,114. Let me actually do that really quickly. Just 70,114. Oh, was that low? 114. 70K, 100%. Oh, got it. My bad. 70K here. I don't know what. Oh, I see. Sorry, my bad. Average price 77,624. I'm very sorry. 70, what is it? 77,624. I said that's my, there it is. That's my actual entry. And let's go finish up with F Ethereum. F Ethereum is basically the same as Bitcoin. We were getting into that huge ranging here as expected. We are bouncing, and I'm looking for a possible higher low somewhere around the zone. Can we go straight towards to the bottom? Yes, absolutely, and that's something that we need to understand that Bitcoin can also do. All right, so be patient, guys. And if we start hitting some stop loss, because we need to use a stop loss, remember we're looking for a bounce and a head switch. Let me show you. If we start doing this, then we're looking for this area to entry and then short it. Right, that's why our stop loss. Oh, not that low. Our stop loss should be somewhere around here when our entry is somewhere around there. So just keep your eyes peeled. And other than that, let me pass it over to you. And then if we have time at the end, I'll take a look at the meme coins like Reaver, Pump, and Hype.
Sounds good. We should definitely have some time at the end. We had a few things to go over, and some of these tie into that jobs data that we were talking about at the beginning there. So, taking a look at this one, Palantir's Shyam Sakar. Americans are being lied to about AI job displacement fears. Getting into this one, he kind of talks a little bit about history, how we've seen technological booms. This one, he references the sewing machine and how they wouldn't grant a patent on it because they were worried that there would be mass unemployment if they patented a sewing machine. He also dives a little bit further into who you should be asking about the AI and what the AI can do here. But it's kind of funny. Let's see, where was it here? Um, Guess I did. It was somewhere in that article, but he talks about you shouldn't be asking the the scientists that are building up the AI about the jobs worries. You should be talking to the CEOs of these companies who honestly are more economically uh, motivated to lie about some of this. And this is on top of the same week that we just saw Sam Altman at OpenAI talking about how they're going to be firing a bunch of coders because now the AI is efficient enough to just do the coding that they had hired all these coders to do. So, yeah, doesn't sound like Americans should be worried about AI having a massive displacement in any of these jobs, especially since we're seeing that data centers, they might take a few people to actually build up the data center, but when it comes to running the data center, you only need about 3 people at the data center at once to keep that thing running. So, normally, what we've seen in history is when there's a new technology, it allows for mass production of something, but it allows you to hire more people. And that's not what we're seeing with this AI. And I think he's just blowing some smoke up my butt. So, you got any thoughts on that one, OC? I know you like those tinfoil hat theories.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, we were talking about it. So let me get started first for the most alarming part of my opinion, right? I do believe that AI after Ford's line of assembly, it's the next big thing, right? It follows almost the same structure as Ford's line of assignment, right? Assembly, sorry. It is faster, right? It's operated by humans, right? It seems innocent enough, right? And let you produce way more. So I don't think, I mean, if you actually go for it, the line of assembly did not took assembly man's job, right? It took mechanics jobs. And it took then how do you call those cars pulled by horses?
Carriages, buggies.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think carriages. Yeah, that carriages jobs because they went out of stock because the price of a vehicle was much cheaper, so the other guys couldn't compete. So I believe that the fear, and I mean now getting the fear of the AI taking your job is real, but it's not gonna be a robot, right? And we were talking about that. It's gonna be a guy that knows how to use AI, right? And it's not gonna be into like the AI space. I believe it has to do with the amount of people per center, right, to be operated. Like we were running kind of some speculative numbers, and I came up with, hey, you know what? Based on what I've seen, I believe that a well prepared AI agent, but not agent, like a person, a human that can use agents, right, is worth like 10 normal people. I mean, on speed and agility, as long as it uses it properly, right? That also means they need computers to run the thing, right? They need coding skills. So right now, if you are not looking to using agents, you are missing out. Prepare. If you are under 30 and you're watching this, this is the moment that you should be looking at AI. Just like 20 years ago, coding was was the work of the future. Right now, I mean, it's clean and clear, right? So is it going to be taking our jobs? Absolutely. Yes. I would say that an absolute yes, but it's not the way that everybody is talking about, right? Or the alarmists are talking about. It's going to be people taking other people's job. So I believe that's what's going to happen, and we need to prepare.
Oh, definitely. Those white collar jobs are gonna be the first to go. Uh, but like you said, at first it'll be really slow. We're gonna see uh, people using the AI being the first replacements of jobs, which makes things a little more competitive. So maybe we'll see a boost in wages. We've also got this report. Report finds 1 in 4 Americans are functionally unemployed. And this is on top of all the other jobs information that we've been getting here. So, according to the Ludwig Institute for Shared Economic Prosperity, or a recent report, over 25% of the U.S. labor force can be categorized as functionally unemployed, which means that they are seeking but unable to secure full time employment or earn more than property level wages. And this is something that is coming with some other news here. Let me get this one up here. Along with some recession indicators. So, recession indicator that nobody was watching just collapsed 32%. And this is heavy truck sales. Yes, there are other factors like post COVID fleet overbuying, higher financing costs, regulatory uncertainty, and then goods to a service shift. Those explain slowdowns, but history is clear. 2015 uh, to 16, 15% no recession. 2008, 40% recession. 2020, 35% dip, a recession. And then late 2025, 32%. Uh, and it's all up in the air right now. And this is after last week, where we just talked about some of your first large hedge funds are now sending out letters to the people that use their services, warning about the recession risks and that they might be seeing some drawdowns in their accounts. So, keeping our eyes on this one. This is real capex talking about unemployment rate with US truck sales. So, we are at another interesting point here where we're starting to see a little bit of a spike in that unemployment rate on top of your capex here. So we will probably keep our eyes on this one going forward. I know Piper talks about all of this macro data quite a bit here. We had a few other things to go over this morning, tying into your gold trade that you were talking about yesterday here. We have gold and silver rebound, pulling a global mining stock and precious metal ETFs higher. Kind of self-explanatory here, not a whole lot to get into it. But spot gold up 5.5%. Spot silver rose 9%, back to $80 here. So we'll keep our eyes on this one. I got some levels to call out on silver here in a little bit. We had this one as well. The AI SpaceX merger. Kabisi letter breaks it down a little bit as well. Elon Musk's SpaceX has acquired XAI. Here's the official press release. The biggest IPO in history just got even bigger. Absolutely incredible. So this was that press release about XAI joining SpaceX. And this is coming as we're supposed to see that SpaceX IPO launch here in June. We've talked about that here before. We will continue to watch that as it unfolds because, like I said, that might be the IPO of the decade. They are looking to have $1.7 trillion worth of shares. And I don't think that's going to be where they stop, especially with acquiring XAI and a few other things that they've got going on in the background, like government contracts. So we will keep our eyes on that one. I will drop some more information as it arises in the Discord. That link is in the chat. If you are not in that Piper Academy Discord, you are missing out. Did you have some things to go over? I see you're pulling up something in the background over there, OC. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you, my friend. Just- oh man. I long story short, I was complaining about my dog because I think he farted next to me and I was just choking, brother. I was complaining to my wife. She's sitting next to me and can you smell that? Oh man. The first point of data it was U.S. students' loans delinquents are exploding. Man, really don't like that word really close to students, man. I mean, that's something that I really don't like, right? Basically we're seeing a on payment historical on payment result. The number of federal loans recipients to 271 plus days past due is now 8 times higher than the pre-2020 average. This comes at a grace period ended in June 2025 when missed payments begin appearing on credit reports. Meanwhile, the percentage of students' loans institutioning into 90 plus days of serious delinquency, it's up to 14.3% on all-time highs. This significantly exceeds the 2013 peak of 10.5 and 2008 levels of 7.5. The student loans crisis is accelerating. Oh no. I mean, if you guys want a little bit of advice, and I brought this up when I was studying on the states. I told a lot of my buddies there, guys, instead of doing community college, right, come to Mexico. You can actually study a career that then can get validated in the states, especially things like medicine, right? Things like science, things that they are, at its core, they're not changing. Something very, very interesting that I want to bring up in there is like, hey, if you are looking to study for something related to health, well, uh, the best training it's somewhere around here because here doctors don't straight away send you to use expensive machines that cost you. They actually do more observation and handwork, right? So they really use debugging, manual debugging, if you may, right? And then having that knowledge and getting to the States with all of the expensive and fancy machinery that you guys have, well, that will actually blow things up on your field because you have both the field experience and now the technology to use at your disposal. So give it a thought. I'm not sending you here, of course, if you don't want to, but might be a good thing to do. I actually did it myself. I went to study to the States to steal a little bit of that knowledge that you guys have. All right. So, and then bringing this up really quickly, and this it's happened, he said. It's happened first proper push into expansion when had it over 3 years, reading off 52.6, well beyond anyone expectation. This is a significant jump, and it's not even just about Bitcoin. We'll have to see about that. This is not some arbitrary piece of data that means nothing. It's an assessment based on actual manufacturing reports and shown the economic expansion. Long story short, all right. So we see in PMI pushing through the 50% level, right? Every time that we have seen that, we have had a period of growth around a year, right? Caveats in here, right? Caveats before we go wild. First, we have broken in, you name it, any significant major piece of support, right? We need a miracle to break back inside the range. That miracle is a 20 to a 10% miracle. It's not that far away, right? But I mean, 10 over 8, I mean, 10 over 90 or 20 over 80. I mean, you name it, right? We're talking about here percentages. And then, well, yes, it's truth that in the past three cycles, when we see that PMI in growth, well, we have seen that growth, right? But also look at the stalling that we had between 2023 and now 2026. So, do we have that growth? And let me compare that data point with the drug sellouts that you brought up, right? So, would you mind open up the discussions? Do you think that PMI is the standalone point that this guy is talking about? I mean, for me, I need more data points, right? I need more data points, and despite this is encouraging, that's it, encouragement.
Hmm. And I mean, we kind of talked about it when we got that data drop, where it's like normally when you're above that 50 threshold, it allows for that economic growth. Things are a little bit more bullish, but I think they're not really taking into account things like the jobs numbers. Uh, that your velocity of money right now is extremely low. We're not having a whole lot of purchasing. Your interest rates are still extremely high. So, I mean, we could on your more not on your consumer side, but on your producer side, see a little bit of some growth, but it have very little actually impact on your consumer. So we'll just have to keep our eyes on this. Uh, I think we're more worrisome about recession than anything, especially with all of your geopolitical, your macro news, the jobs numbers, how high inflation is. It's just an all around crapshoot right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I will actually go for the breakout retest on this one, to be completely honest, because I didn't show that, but we have 2 points of data that actually show fake outs. So two out of one, two, three, four. Well, then it's almost half of it, right? That shows fake outs. So just wanted to bring this up because you might be starting to see a couple of things like this where this is not a lie. I believe that they're heavily pushing to the hoping side, right? Is it a hard point of data? Yes, absolutely, right? There's no deny about it. But I think that we're just focusing, if we start just looking at this, right? Focusing just with a microscope instead of looking at the bigger picture. And just want to bring this up because contrasting with everything else, this doesn't seem to be fitting until other data points start turning around, right? So it's too soon to be calling out a victory. That's just what I wanted to say. And guys, prepare, right? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That's what I would say.
Most definitely. I know you had a few charts to go over, so let's see what you got chart wise, OC, because there's only about 7 minutes left of the show here.
Woo. We all right, absolutely. So we have all of those already covered, or most of all of those already covered. So let's go take them out. Let's get started with River. River, we were talking about a possible long entry, right? And we can see it right here. Yesterday we were talking about this area. We have broken it, but we start to have it in an indecision candle. Not only that, let me throw everything that I got at it. All right. So as you can see, I know it's getting a little bit messy. We are right below, there we go, the smart money entry, which should have been what I was expecting to bounce from, right? But we just don't have the flip of the ribbon. And right now we're getting into the ranging zone. So still a long entry, right? Still a long entry. But if we started doing that, oh, get away from that long entry because the longer that we range without bouncing, the more that we have the opportunity to then drop and then looking for a double bottom. So at this moment, I'm not going to be going for the long, although the long entry is there, but I'm going to decide to let it go because of the situation that I'm seeing. Other than that, let's just keep track on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is back at that percentage, itty bitty tiny percentage. Remember, we're talking about the 15 minutes time frame. And let me just refer this back because we are barely on profits. Let me reference this back with a line really quickly. And it's just gonna take me in a second. And remember my entry, it is right there. All right. Oh, all right, whatever. There's way too much noise. But still, on the bouncing area. We bounced right from the quantum reactor with a reversal, which gave me a little bit more confidence that at least we're gonna go and smack this door up here, to smack that wall, right? Let's move into pump fun. Just that I did give a possible entry right there. We should be on profits back and almost taking us out. It's still fine if you have not yet entered. That is perfectly because I also mentioned that we were, or I was not going to be trading this despite this was an entry given. All right. So, what is it about this? Well, at this moment, I could start looking for an entry as or if I break above that zero line. My consolidation score is very high still. All right. But that also tells me that if I'm highly consolidating, well, I could be taking advantage of buying low, selling high. I would actually recommend going into the 30 minutes and start looking at this range, not basically on the 4 hours. So, is it a given entry? Not so far until, or not right now until we break through. Nonetheless, remember we gave this entry yesterday, but I did not took it. I'm not still not gonna be trading pump at this moment. Hype's another story. It's falling back below the area that we were expecting. We do have a trend line to holding here, and we have a goose head. So what I'm expecting is to break out like this, lower high, and then a fall back down. So be careful with this area right there. Although we're getting again closer to a long position. Hype is one of those ones that, oh boy, it is just pumping regardless. It just doesn't give an F. So going for that long right here might not be a bad idea, but keep your eyes open in for the love of God, all right, or for the love of everything that's holy. Use a stop loss. So other than that, that's basically everything that I got. Oh well, one more LDO. LDO getting to the longing areas again. If you caught it, I did not. Just so you know, I'm paying more attention to Bitcoin. If you caught it, perfect. If not, that's it. I mean, wait for it to come bounce back down. And remember, we are looking for a break of that zero line. You rather wait for the break of the zero line, and targets are gonna be 0.44, and my favorite one, of course, at 51.99. So that's all I got for today.
All right. Well, I did have silver to go over extremely quickly. We were calling out some levels the other day. We ended up getting that bounce off of $70 we were looking for. Wanted to see us pull back above 77, kind of hold that area of support. That's pretty much exactly what happened there. Now we're trying to get back to our 50% line here on our fib extensions. Still seeing a little bit of faltering at that area, trying to gather some strength here at the 382. This 4 hour is at a pretty interesting point here. You are seeing that MACD get that cross above our indicator line. We're still below zero, so kind of keep your eyes on this. We could have a little bit of faltering in this area, but we are starting to gather some momentum here. Money flow starting to increase again. You are seeing a little bit of some worrisome signs on that volume, but we could very, very easily get that shift here. Taking a look here at your shorter term time frame with that 15-minute, we are still in that uptrend, not seeing as big of some movements here. We are a little bit toppy on that. We're seeing some curvature back on that prime oscillator all over again. Seeing that MACD cool down just a little bit as you've slowed with these pushes towards the upside. So if we can start to get some money flow like we're seeing here on the 15-minute to come back in, and your volume switch bleeding over into that higher term time frame, then you could really start to get that pushback above what was support for quite a while. So keep your eyes on that 50% line first. That's that $90 level. Look for a little bit of resistance there. That's also extremely close to that trend line that we've been keeping our eye on. Been the support line for quite a while. So looking for a little retest on that area to kind of see some resistance, get a little more cool down on that higher term time frame. while we wait for some money flow and some volume to come back in to get some pushes back towards the upside. This is also a giant fair value gap on that higher term time frame. As you can see here, golden pocket all the way down here to what we are currently stalling out at is our fair value gap. So struggling to break back into that, but once we do, after a little bit of a gathering of strength, like we were talking about on Bitcoin, we could really start to punch back above that $90 level. So that's all I got for today. And it is time to wind that show on down. I know you got a chart prime class to get over to. So thank you for tuning in, everyone. I know you're going live today at 7 p.m. OC.
That's right. It's 6 to 7 CST.
All right. Well, tune on in for Trading with OC this afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Me and JR will be going live for our first official together show on the Power Hour. Stay tuned for that one. We're going to be breaking down liquidity today, the psychology behind liquidity, and we've got a few indicators that people asked for that we're going to show you how to build a trade strategy with. So, Power Hour every single day, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. But until next time, make sure to trade safe, use a stop loss, and we will see you in the chats. Have a good day.
That's the rap. Chart stack data never lie. Piper led the mission, OC in the sky. Spaghetti on the screen, but the vision stay prime. Chart prime visual, signals on time. Alumni strong, we built from the grind. Lessons in the market that'll outlive time. Knowledge is profit, you know how we run. Till the next one, stay sharp, get it done.
You can't handle the truth. Emotional damage.
We'll see you at the next
Don't
one.
know what the fuck they're doing.
Morning market report out.
Boom shakalaka.
We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report out. We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report. Ow.
That was awesome, dude.
Hey, it didn't break. What else you got?